Hello and welcome to the Health Chat. Today, we are looking at 2023's trending health products or health regimes, as well as what we can expect to see in the near future, because it's a really exciting time to be part of this industry. People are incredibly aware of their health, and we're naturally interested in how we can improve our health. We all want to know how to live longer, live better and stronger. And this is evident just by looking at the trends on social media. And the things that have been selling out in the health space are not necessarily new. I mean, we saw Celtic sea salt and castor oil take off. These are not new items in the health industry. They just hit the digital platforms and soared in popularity. And really, most of what we're talking about are not new concepts. In fact, anything that we're talking about has been around for quite a while. They may have different terms, but really they've been around in our industry for quite some time. But they're just hitting the right buttons in terms of general media attention. Rick and I spent quite a lot of time plowing through research articles, looking at all the Google trends as well as digital trends, and we found a huge range of products that we'll try to keep succinct for this podcast.
And Vicky, in particular, our last three podcasts we focused on cellular aging is going to be huge next year. It was already this year. All that stuff around senescence, autophagy, together with stuff like nootropics and adaptogens are still hovering in the background there. But we've got some new ones. We've got some ones that we actually have talked a little bit about, but they're going to come to the fore in 2024. And as you say, a couple of the old favourites, but with a twist. And that's what we like as the research comes out. So there's a couple there that you might have heard of, but we've got some new research and some new trends behind them.
That is true. And the first one that I thought I'd talk about is the microbiome cleansing. And I guess we know what those terms mean individually. Like the microbiome is about the trillions of microorganisms living in our digestive tract. And it's obvious that this keeps the digestive tract free of pathogens, dissuading pathogenic flora. But it's also about supporting the tract so it can perform its function. It's important that our stomachs can break down the foods, has the enzymes to do so, be able to absorb the nutrients and excrete what it doesn't need. And look, I remember studying many years ago, and we spoke about the gut-brain connection and how the gut influences everything from digestion to immune function. And a balanced microbiome is essential for maintaining good health. But various factors such as diet, stress, and medications can disrupt this delicate balance. And so now this term of microbiome cleansing and microbiome reset has come into the forefront. And I guess a lot of people are thinking, but how do I know if I need to have a microbiome reset? And I guess it's really if you're having those digestive changes. So if your bowel habits have changed, if your energy and mood levels have changed, because really it is a complex ecosystem and this needs a bit of a cleanse to get back on track. But the most powerful way to support the microbiome is through diet. And we've come such a long way over the last, 5-10 years when we talk about fiber. Gone are the days of psyllium husk fibers. Let's be honest. I mean, if you're just after something to help you go to the bathroom, then yes, you'll take a psyllium husk. But it's much more than that now. And we're looking at fermented foods that are incorporated into fiber. We're looking at digestive enzymes, prebiotics and probiotics. And I thought it'd be really interesting to give a bit of stats in this space. In 2021, the global dietary fibre market size was valued at 10 billion Australian dollars. Okay, so 2 years ago, $10 billion. Last year, it jumped an extra 2 billion, so it went to $12 billion. But it's projected to increase to $20 billion in the next 6 years. So what does this say? This says this space is going to boom and it's going to expand rapidly. So incorporating fiber-rich foods, fermented foods, and a variety of fruit and vegetables provides essential nutrients for our gut bacteria. But it's not working for everybody because we have these restrictive diets that have come into play that have proved to be really popular. And I'm talking in particular like a keto sort of diet where people are restricting their fiber intake, all in the name of staying slim or maybe for some other health benefit. But sometimes it's hard to get the right amount of fiber, and there are alternatives to health. So if you are on a restrictive diet, you may need to supplement with a formula that is keto friendly, but has all those essential pre and probiotics and fiber to help things maintain some form of regularity. And I've spoken about Melrose in the past. They have a great formula, but there's Gut Performance, Supercharged Food Range, and so much more. And even Rugenic have got a lovely new range in this space. But if you hop onto Oborne's website and in the search bar type in fiber, you'll get all the products that pop up. And we have many in both the practitioner and the retail space. But there is also a huge push towards digestive enzymes. And I really like the Gut Aid range of digestive enzymes because they do a dairy relieve, a gluten, and a gut relieve formula, and they work really well. And I like them because they're really small. They're not a huge capsule that you take. And I find when my husband and I are about to go out to dinner, particularly if we're about to have, a pasta dish or some creamy pasta, or even if it's a gelati, we'll take one of their digestive enzymes, and we don't notice any bloating or any sort of slump after eating food. There's also turmeric, curcumin, ginger, berberine, and L-glutamine, which are the general standard heroes in this space. But another approach that you can sort of look at is intermittent fasting, because actually giving our digestive system a break during certain periods allows the microbiome to recalibrate and have that positive effect on the gut. But of course, before doing anything like this, you must consult with a healthcare practitioner just to make sure you're getting the right nutrient intake, but not disrupting your hormonal balance at the same time.
And Henry Bloom's do a nice range of fiber boosting supplements as well. And speaking of the gut, Vicky, isn't it remarkable how this is really one of the most basic of our naturopathic principles, is treating the gut? It's been going on since naturopathy and nutrition have been around. And as more and more research shows, first of all, we find out the importance for, regularity. We find out the importance for, keeping the body generally clean. But then we sort of find out more about the, serotonin link, certainly the link to the skin health. And more, we find the importance of that gut. Without a healthy gut, you don't have a lot else, or it certainly will impact negatively on the rest of your health. I love the term microbiome reset. I think I like it even more than microbiome cleansing, although it says the same thing. But the reset gives you an opportunity to take a look. You may only need to start with some probiotics. You might like to think just start with the fiber as a prebiotic, but if you want to go all in, you certainly got the choice, as Vicky was saying, on the website, for lots of kits and lots of stuff that will support that microbiome and help it to function optimally, which will end up giving you better sleep, more energy, etc. Really good to see the whole microbiome coming to the forefront even more. I thought it had peaked, but with this whole reset idea, I think we're going to see even more interest on it as the general public, as the general public become more aware. But, you think about it, and we can even help people be less bloated. That's an achievement in itself, let alone all the other things that come along. But bloating, when I have my clinic, and even now when I'm out on the road and I talk to people about their customers and their clients, bloating is the number one thing. People don't want to bloat. If they're on a weight management campaign, often the bloating disrupts that. So a really good place to start is that microbiome reset. So I want to move in a little bit now to NR, NMN, resveratrol, coenzyme Q10, omega-3s, vitamin D, curcumin, green tea, astragalus, ashwagandha, ginkgo, etc. Because next year, the same as last year, but next year in particular, telomere health linked with that cellular health and cellular aging is keeping the telomeres nice and healthy and keeping them nice and long. Now, that's exactly what we want to do. There's been a lot of research in the past years about telomere shortening, and we've now found that those products or ingredients that I talked about are coming to the forefront, indeed, of keeping your telomeres nice and long. Now, telomere length is also linked to different health outcomes. So shorter telomeres could lead to, increased risk of heart disease, diabetes, and even some more serious conditions. So it's not only about what we used to think about the telomeres was, oh, we're just going to do it for aging, or what I used to think about was that. But what we're going to do it for is to help with some underlying health conditions can make you feel better. And I think with a healthier cellular system and with a healthy telomere, you get healthier overall health. And coming back to everyday language, less fatigue, more clarity, again, better sleep. So although sometimes the telomere health can look very complicated, when you break it down, it's going to deliver those better health outcomes for you. So again, NR, MNN, resveratrol, coenzyme Q10, omega-3, vitamin D, curcumin, green tea, astragalus, ashwagandha, ginkgo. That list is not exhaustive. There's so many more, but it's certainly a great place to start. And, you know, Vicky and I are both, you know, if you've listened to any of the podcasts, a bit obsessed with resveratrol. And I did leave out quercetin because I think if you're going to do resveratrol, you want a quercetin supplement in there as well. But if nothing else, go for the resveratrol. Japanese knotweed has it in a botanical form if you want to go down the herbal tincture route.
You know, I think I remember listening to you on a radio station maybe a month ago, was it? And you were talking about this, and it's not just talking on our podcast, but it's definitely out there in mainstream.
Yes. And when I first got really interested in telomeres in the early 2000s, certainly before 2010. And I've mentioned on many occasions about David Sinclair because I've followed him for many years and his research. But yeah, in the early days, I didn't understand it as much as I do now, but it's almost come a full circle. And I wrote a very, very simple anti-aging book when I was in the UK. That only touched the surface. But what I'm pleased about when I wrote it is that I was on the right track. I didn't have all the research then, but I was on the right track with this cellular health. And telomere, I've got my family on telomere health stuff. I've got my friends on telomere health stuff. It really is the number one thing for me. When you then combine it with a microbiome and you get that healthy, you've got the cellular health, you've got a healthy gut. Wow, you can turn things around, you know, in 12 weeks, I think, and be, you know, in a much better overall health state, which is what we're after. And I was talking to someone about it the other day. You know, doing this now with telomere health and doing this, which we'll touch on again, about senescent cells and autophagy and making sure that system's working well. Into your 80s, you may well then add many more productive years before the serious illnesses come. And if you do have something that's more serious, I think that having good cellular health will only help you to navigate the more serious conditions in a healthier fashion.
Oh, absolutely. And if we move on from or follow on from your topic and we move into the senescent cells and those age-related diseases like Alzheimer's or cardiovascular disease and diabetes, senescent cells, which is also very strongly linked to telomere length and health, what we're trying to do is down-regulate this inflammation that causes these age-related diseases. And so my area of interest here is the natural senolytics, and that's where we were talking about quercetin before, and there's quercetin or quercetin and resveratrol and other plant compounds. And some research has very strongly proven to remove these senescent cells from the body and down-regulating the inflammation. And I can give you, I mean, this is just one in the last week, but I really could go on for hours talking about every single case that I've seen. But not long ago, I had a patient come to me, 52, severely, like in such severe pain, joint pain I'm talking about. And so she's at that age where sort of menopause has just started, and everything is exacerbated for her. You know, oh, I can't get up in the morning. Oh, my shoulder hurts. Oh, my back. And all these joint pains that she was experiencing. And all I did was I added Japanese knotweed to her, or resveratrol to her regime, with a really good dose of curcumin. And what we found was very quickly in the first 2 weeks, this inflammation had just resolved itself and she was able to get up out of bed without that pain. And you just think about that was just 2 things that I gave her, and she just can now function properly in the morning. Because, you know, when you have the sort of joint pain, it takes a couple of hours to sort of warm up, let's say, and then you feel good for the rest of the day. She was able to bounce out of bed. That in itself is just so powerful. And so when I see patients like this, I'm like, you need these things. I mean, of course, you have to check that they're not on blood thinners or anything like that. But in most cases, this works really well.
I think that as well with joint pain, until you on a personal level feel it, we often gloss over it with the arthritic, the arthritis, arthritic conditions as we age, because you kind of think, oh well, that's just arthritis.
That's how it is.
Not.
Yeah, that's just how it is.
In combination with pain, and as you say, that takes hours sometimes to resolve in the morning, and it's more that sort of deep ache that people, if they're younger, haven't experienced, and when it arrives, you certainly know there. Yeah,
you certainly do. So the next area is psychodermatology, and this was a new thing that I really hadn't heard of or thought of. But Rick, what did you uncover with psychodermatology?
Well, yeah, it's again, I love a tagline or a headline from my years of working in magazines and PR. But psychodermatology, it sums up the relationship between our emotions, stress levels, and the health of our skin. Now, again, going back to the gut, as naturopaths, nutritionists, we've been talking about that for a long time. If your emotions are high and you're really stressed out, you're not sleeping, you'll notice yourself that even the what's the word, that your complexion can suffer. I always say to people, it's like having a hangover without having had the booze. Yeah. So your body will react in the same way. Your skin looks dull, your hair looks dull. Certainly women will recognize hair loss in times of stress. And it's a big thing that we don't talk much about. Now I'm throwing that into the psychodermatology, although it's not, exactly skin. It's a similar thing to do with appearance. And stress has such a powerful effect on that hair loss, and is in Australia and globally such an emotional thing for both men and women. But when I see, I had seen women clients on a talk again to family and friends, hair loss for women, it can hit home a little bit harder because of the anxiety that comes along with it. Then anxiety comes along and it gets worse. But anyway, psychodermatology is where we're going to look at the mind-skin connection. And what we're trying to do there is look how the body releases certain hormones when it's really stressed that can trigger or exacerbate stress conditions. Now, you might think, well, what do I do about that? Well, you do your microbiome reset. Microbiome reset is going to make sure the gut's functioning best, eliminating, therefore having a positive effect on the liver. So the liver, again, eliminating probably, keeping your water intake up so that the kidney can do what it does. So they're not all using the skin as a sort of organ of elimination more so than it needs to be used. But you also need to really take a step back and look at what is causing the stress. What do we have? Now, you have been living under a rock if you haven't heard about ashwagandha over the last couple of years. It really is a nice, soothing botanical option, together with things like lemon balm. You've got chamomile. We've got an array of herbals, things like motherwort that are going to provide support for, emotional distress. If you're looking a little bit more into it, you can look at things like nettle leaf, nettle root, depending on what your skin condition is. We've also got dandelion root, dandelion leaf that does it as well. But coming back to the stress thing, you've got to, make sure that you're taking some form of multivitamin, multimineral that's going to deliver you at least an array of B vitamins. If you are unsure about methylation, make sure that they're methylated so that you're going to get the best result of your Bs. That's got some magnesium in there, just keeping it, simple. At least have those. Even some vitamin C will give you a nicer support for a stress response. But then we've also got all of the aminos. Now, the rise of the amino acids in 2023 has been quite incredible with compounding that's going on. But, we can't discount the role that the aminos have to chilling us out. So it might be that you're looking at things like GABA. You might be looking at supporting it with theanine or threonine. Really a search engine is your best friend in this one, to have a look and see which amino acid resonates with you. There's so many more, and they're going to tend to help with your sleep as well. Now, good sleep better skin health. So we've talked about all those things for skin health before, which is slowing down at the end of the day, decreasing screen time, etc. And then again, we touched a couple of podcasts ago on making sure that the things that you're putting on your skin and you're surrounding yourself with in your home are clean and green. And you can go back and listen to that one, because otherwise this will turn into a whole podcast on how to get rid of endocrine disruptors from the house and how to make sure that you've got the best quality things going on your skin in the shower or whatever creams you're using. So psychodermatology, about the mind, connection to better skin health and therefore better aging and less fine lines and wrinkles. So if you're happier, that's a good thing and a positive mindset. But then remembering that it also matters what you put onto it and what you've got in your home in order to get the best results, as well as you can't have psychodermatology without a good diet, coming back to what Vicky said earlier with fiber. So it all comes together, meanders around, and we end up with back in the same space, which is treat the gut and you'll be fine. Yeah,
it really is. You're right. It's all about food, sleep, hydration. And actually, you were talking about sleep before and how important it is to get good quality sleep. Well, I don't know what's happened, but just last 2 months, the amount of people that I'm seeing that are totally incapable of switching off at nighttime. I mean, this is, we're not really talking about it here as its own entity, but sleep seems to be something that people are struggling with. This natural thing that we're supposed to do every single day, which is by far the easiest thing we do all day / night, turns out to be the most difficult. And I started to research on the trends of what we can expect to see in the sleep space, because people are totally unable to switch their brain off. And I came across some incredibly exciting products. And I don't think I'm going to talk about it right now, but maybe I'll have one to show as a sample in the next podcast. But it is a device that helps to trick the mind into switching off up here and focusing on something else, which is totally disjointed from your brain, and it forces the brain to go somewhere else. And it's incredible, and I can't wait to share it with everyone. It'll be coming very soon. When I have it in my hot little hands, I'll actually show it on screen.
And we've seen a lot in the past year of the rise again of lavender, something from the 70s that's made a big resurgence, whether it be in aromatherapy or actually in ingestibles. And then of course you've got your things like St. John's wort that may assist with anxiety if you're not on any other medication. You can certainly look at that to try to chill you a little bit at night time as well. Looking into the botanicals that are a little bit stronger, look for our supplements that have California poppy in them. We also have a nice range of kava products that are going to help you if you can't switch off. And I think, Vicky, we should perhaps do a podcast in the new year on sleep, because it really is, people just aren't switching off. And it's no wonder, since the pandemic, it feels like everything's just stayed revved up. As that gets revved up and technology continues to rev up and life revs up with the cost of living crisis, and then we look around the globe at things that are happening that are very sad, it's no wonder that we are, suffering when it comes time to switch off. Absolutely. And we should be able to switch off. I hear a lot about people who can switch off for that nap in the afternoon, but then they get to bed at night. So there's nothing wrong with their actually sleep mechanism. It's just at nighttime that overdrive comes on, and we're watching, we're streaming something that's very exciting or reading something that's very upsetting, even if you're reading a book that's really super, what do you call it? You love the plot, you can't stop turning the pages. Perhaps not the one just before bed.
Agree.
But without good sleep, we don't have regeneration. Without good sleep, we don't have telomere health. Without good sleep, we don't have gut health. Without good sleep, we have no energy. The whole thing is so important. I look forward to your device. And when you share yours, I'm going to share something that I went to a clinic in Western Australia and tried. That's sort of a bit of a reset for your brain waves, which was my brain really needed that. And so maybe we look at sleep and the devices that are out there, because although we might constantly not criticize technology and its role in health, but we're saying you need to move away from it. There's also exciting moments in how technology is helping us with the devices. It's just finding that balance. And when we've used some good ones, we'll share them with you.
Absolutely. And it'll be a great time to do one next year, because I just did a recording with Mark Wells, who happens to talk about sleep, in February, and his flower essences that he recommends. So it's perfect timing. That's what we're going to do.
I love flower essences for sleep. I love all of them for sleep. They're great. I love them for emotional balancing as well. I think they're an undervalued part of our arsenal in terms of just taking the edge off, and they can get so specific as well for whatever emotion you're going through. I think they're great. So I'll be having a listen to that one.
I actually have like 3 on my desk, so I'm with you. The next one I want to talk about is menopausal management or support. And my mother has passed away, so I'm unable to ask my mum how she was in her, change of life experience. And it's not like I can ask my dad, because my dad will probably go, well, your mum never spoke about it. And it's like, oh, okay. But now social conversations about menopause have increased by 60%, right? And that's just in the last 12 months. So if we've seen this jump in just 12 months, imagine what we're going to see in the next 12 months after. There are, in fact, restaurants in the US that are popping up with menopausal menus. And there's like about a dozen or so in, the East and West Coast that have these menopausal menus to help women who are suffering during this time. So you can see that not only is there a market, but there is a huge demand for it. Women are actually wanting this. Dominating diets in this space, obviously the vegan diet. But if you're like me and you enjoy animal protein, don't fear, because you can still have your animal protein, but it's all the way in which it's prepared. So you want to grill it rather than fry it, and make sure you enjoy an abundance of fiber. It comes back to the fiber, because the fiber is going to help eliminate the bad hormones and get rid of them, so that your body doesn't have to suffer as much. What I thought was very interesting, that the most searched ingredients or functional food in this space is dark soy, sushi, collagen, fruit juice. And this is mainly because women are looking to detoxify their system, and they want to eliminate the hormones. They're also looking at incorporating ingredients into their everyday meals, like a cupcake or a brownie, because that's kind of what they're craving. They're craving those carbohydrate-rich foods, because it gives you that instant happiness and satisfaction. But incorporating some of those ingredients like soy or collagen and dark chocolate into those foods to help with the symptoms. But even more than that, there is an incredible new patented formula, and it's called Estro-G-100. Okay, it's a German product. It's a combination of phytonutrients, and it's designed to help improve symptoms of menopause, including bone mineral density, hot flushes, joint aches, and fatigue, but with no estrogenic or phytoestrogenic effects. And I don't know if I should mention the brand of chocolate that it's gone in, but there is a chocolate that has sold out every single time it becomes available, because it has this compound in it, this Estro-G-100, and it works so well that they cannot keep up with production. And so this is a new space, and I reckon anyone who wants a great food idea, functional food idea, chocolate with this ingredient is going to take off. And it's actually marketed that you have one row, which is, I think, 3 blocks of chocolate every single day. Okay, you're going to tell me to have chocolate? I'm there. I'll have it.
The problem is they're going to stop with 3. That's the hardest thing, isn't it? But if your fiber intake's good enough and you do the fiber before you have the chocolate, you'll probably get away with it. Look, that functional food space is another that it has taken off. That we won't touch on the mushrooms, but they've been mega as well. This past year, and will continue into the next year. In the UK, Vicky, there's a massive conversation now from a lot of very big celebrities about menopausal management and menopausal support. Same thing happening over there. So globally, I think we've turned a corner, especially in the Western world, as the population ages a little bit, where 50 is not considered, old as old as it used to be, and indeed it isn't, in my opinion, even an old age. I would say that having passed it, but it certainly isn't. It's good to see that, and when you look at those diets, as you said, that Mediterranean diet offers some nice support. It all comes down to the essential fatty acids again. Look at if you want to go to our website and go to our search bar and type in menopause, you'll get a lot of products for whatever specific ailment you may have.
Yeah.
If you're looking for stuff that might support constipation, there we've certainly got stuff there for that. We've got stuff, as Vicky was saying, for joint health. We've got stuff for bloating. We've got stuff for mood. There's a lot there. And certainly we also have a lot of iron products in various forms that allow you, if you are feeling that lack of energy, together with, check your medications, but together with the coenzyme Q10 and of course our magnesium for energy to help you throughout that period. But good to see that conversation happening. And like you say, with all those functional foods coming along to support stuff, because we've got them for brain health now. We've got them for, so many different, energy production. There's so much in the food area where our ingredients are filtering into and giving people that support.
Yeah, and I like that this particular company is also doing functional chocolate for children. So with mood disorders or anxiety, I mean, it's not just menopause, but they're targeting many different age groups. And I cannot wait to see what else they bring in the near future. So I know that you've been looking into, is it Berberine? Is that what you've been looking into?
I have, and the thing is with Berberine, I love it because it's one of the ones that we know as, being into botanical medicine as much as we are. Berberine is so important for blood sugar regulation. Now, blood sugar regulation is another, we kind of titled this Berberine, but we probably should retitle it to blood sugar regulation, because that is the other big one that's happening globally apart from microbiome reset. So we talk about how to regulate blood sugar, and what you're going to get is less cravings, better mood, better fat metabolism, better if you've got any conditions like diabetes or metabolic syndrome. Generally makes you a whole nicer person if your blood sugar is regulated, makes you sleep better, etc. So berberine helps regulate the blood sugar levels, and it can improve insulin sensitivity, which is what we want as well, reduce insulin resistance. So that therefore doesn't act in isolation, but can help even with lower blood sugar levels, which is what we're after. Now, throw in fiber with your berberine, and what you've got is a double whammy of something that's going to regulate those blood sugar levels. Now, you may think, well, what does that mean? But it means that it activates AMP, which is an enzyme which plays a key role in regulating metabolism. So berberine, all in all, with weight management, is the thing that you want, and it can help with weight loss, obesity management, and even with a metabolism that's functioning the way it's been designed to. So berberine may also help you with fat storage and the breakdown of fats. So that's why I'm so excited about it. That's why I'm jumping all over the place, apart from being a little bit sleepy on my Monday morning. But that's it. So it's a big one. And have a look on our website, and you'll find out some more about berberine. I'm going to kind of sort of leave it there, but just to end with, it doesn't just do weight management, blood sugar regulation. It will do cardiovascular health. It's anti-inflammatory. It has neuroprotective elements, and it can also act potentially as an appetite suppressant.
Yes.
So one of the key ingredients and thing in our herbal range to look for the products that contain
berberine.
Berberine,
yeah. One caveat with berberine is that if you do take it, and there is a practitioner product that is Berberine that I was taking for quite some time. And I have to say, it does completely cut the appetite, like unbelievable. And I took it just so I could see how I felt. It wasn't because I was trying to cut my appetite, but it definitely did do that. Is that when you take Berberine, remember that you can't take it long periods of time. It's one of those things you have to sort of take it for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and then come off it for 6 to 8 weeks and then go back on it. So just whatever you do, if you decide to just go out and not get any advice, it's one of those that you can't take long term.
Yes, and that's important, and you want to keep your gut health good, so you want to make sure that you rotate that in and out as well.
Yeah. Earlier you were talking about methylation, right? And this particular area that I'm going to be talking about, genomic medicine, is a branch of medicine that involves using information from our genomic makeup. So like our DNA is what I'm trying to say. And by understanding how your DNA works and what it can and can't do, like, for example, methylation, is meaning that we can tailor our supplementation range and the way or forms in which we consume our supplements to benefit our body. Now, in a previous podcast, I mentioned that I did a DNA test, and I was able to look at my genetic sequence and look for particular things. And I did find that I had some problems with methylation. And all this time I was taking a particular B vitamin supplement. I'm wondering, why don't I feel as amazing as everyone else? Oh, now I know why, because I really need a different form. So this is the genomic medicine is all about understanding how the variations in our DNA makeup contributes to the way that we feel, and therefore determines the form of the supplement that we require. And this is huge. And again, this is not new in our space, in the natural health space, but it is definitely something that is picking up because everyone's getting their DNA tested to find out their heritage. It just so happens that you're able to find out a lot more than your heritage in this way and tailor the supplementation form that you take to make you feel a lot better. So this is a huge area of growth, mainly because everyone's getting their DNA tested. So definitely one to look out for. And I think we'll see this more and more in the future.
And this is all that move to another trend, which is individualized nutrition and really super individualized. You know, it's going to be skincare as well.
Yeah.
I think we touched on it on previous podcasts. That's the next step in the next couple of years. Everything's going to be even more, which is why we love, herbal tinctures, because they can be made specifically for you. But you'll see more and more, you'll be able to then choose, as Vicky was saying, the supplement that suits your genetic makeup and gives you the most positive results. And I'm going to end with something very nice. I'm going to end with sound bathing. And it's kind of funny. Again, it's something that's had a bit of a resurgence and the effect of sound bathing or sound therapy or sound healing. Now, even with some more serious conditions, sound has been used globally to treat stuff that you would not think that sound can treat. That's not where I'm headed today, but if you do, again, a little search on the benefits of sound and in the research of some of the more serious conditions, you'll find out that sound has a role to play in healing and healing of some more serious stuff as well. But if we just sort of go back to the psychodermatology and, getting us chilled out and ending 2023 on a good note and starting 2024 on a better one, it's where you use sound and vibrations to promote relaxation, overall well-being, a form of meditation. So it's a sound bath. And generally, if for those of you who had it, you'll be familiar. You generally lay down. You've got a very relaxing area. On my local beach, actually, they were doing it the other day. And we get 300 days of sunshine in Western Australia. But this was a cloudy day, and there was a lovely, a really lovely, beautiful tent, and everyone was inside it on a sort of cloudy, sort of really humid day. And it was lovely to cycle past and hear the sound. Bathing being done and the healings in this lovely tent. But anyway, so they use things like the singing bowls, the gongs, the tuning forks, the chimes, and the drums, percussion instruments to give different frequencies and tones. And those frequencies and tones, when you're in a relaxed state, give therapeutic effects to body and mind. This vibrational healing can interact throughout the body at a cellular level. And it's where sound bathing suggests that these vibrations balance energy, reduce stress, and promote relaxation. I like sound bathing. I used to have a lot of shiatsu, and I haven't done any recently, and I really need to. And my shiatsu therapist used to do sound bathing at the same time as some chanting music in the background. And I felt that that was just an incredible combination of using the pressure points, the acupressure, together with the sound. That touches on the rise too of acupuncture and acupressure that will continue to be a trend, along with energy healing as well. In general, there's a move towards, chilling everyone out. So I thought I'd end on something nice like a sound bath. This is one time, Vicky, though, that we won't mention magnesium bath salts, which is like a miracle because we mention them all the time. It's not that kind of bath.
Okay, we're not going to mention magnesium bath salts, but
yeah,
I am mentioning magnesium
because
go on. That was huge this year. Honestly, it just went viral, and we sold so much of it at Auburn. But look, I'll just take a step back because really I want to talk about hydration and electrolytes. New product survey consumer finds that more than 41% of consumers want new beverages to help with hydration. But they want not just hydration with nutritional benefits like B vitamins, very specifically they want the minerals that they're missing out on, not so much the vitamins. But there is 17% that are looking for that energy boost. And so for today's active consumers, hydrating beverages are not just water, but they have to provide electrolytes, chiefly calcium, sodium, potassium, and magnesium. And just as a side note, the global electrolyte drink market was estimated at $50 billion in 2022. Wow, mind-blowing. And it is expected to hit $90 billion by 2032. Gosh. That is phenomenal. And so when you look at some of the brands that we stock, so we've got MTHFR Clinical, I think they have one, Melrose, Lakeiko, Martin & Pleasance, and Rocheway. They've all started, well, some have started more recently with this hydration space. And I was trying to think, why is hydration so important? Why is everyone banging on about the minerals? Because, back when I was growing up, it was Gatorade and Lucozade. You probably remember those too, right? I mean, no one really consumes Lucozade. I don't even know if that's still available. However, that was the in drink. And it's just catapulted. This space has just gone from, almost nothing to just out of control. It's so insane. It's like, why is this happening? And then I realized that most people who are on restrictive diets are unable to get their calcium and magnesium because those sort of nutrients come from fiber-rich foods. But keto, for example, is all about banning the fiber. And so if you're banning those foods, you're not getting those electrolytes. And so hence in come these hydration formulas. Makes complete sense. But the one that was the most popular this year was the magnesium. It is an incredibly valuable mineral. It's involved in over 300 bodily functions. And believe it or not, about half the population don't consume enough through their diet, mainly because they're not consuming fiber-rich foods. It all comes back to the fiber. Now, this isn't surprising because our diet has changed so much in years gone by. And I don't normally give magnesium to children, but, a lot of kids now are playing so much sport and they can probably gain their minerals from a nice meal after a game. But I'm yet to see a family that after a basketball or soccer match go home and have a nice meal. It's always a junk stop along the way as a reward. There is absolutely nothing in there that is replenishing that child. So I'm more of giving the child food rather than a supplement, unless, of course, there's anxiety that goes with the child. But at any rate, I thought talking about magnesium would be really important because we need about, as adults, between 350 to 500 milligrams a day. No one's getting that, okay? It's very hard to get that in an average diet. because you need things like nuts, seeds, legumes, and like I said, fiber-rich food. And to give you an example, the one that's probably got the most magnesium is pumpkin seeds. And 30 grams of pumpkin seeds contains 160 milligrams of magnesium. One whole avocado has about 60 milligrams of magnesium. I don't know many people that are having, 6 or 8 avocados a day. It's not happening. So for me, it's all about taking the right magnesium for your requirements. And a lot of people say, but how do I know if I need magnesium? Well, a lack of magnesium can lead to muscle cramps, the spasming of the eyelid. I see that quite a bit. The headaches, the fatigue and weakness, nausea, loss of appetite, and even a loss of interest in food, especially if it's a sudden loss of interest. Irregular heartbeat, numbness and tingling of the extremities, anxiety and depression. Every single adult can benefit from magnesium supplement if it doesn't interact with any medications. And we spoke about menopause. Menopausal women definitely can benefit from magnesium supplementation because it helps with calcium and vitamin D to maintain bone density, helps with mood regulation, hormonal fluctuations, heart health, insulin sensitivity. I mean, the list goes on. And I can tell you that just in the last 2 weeks, when I was at work, there was 2 people in the warehouse that came to see me. And, these people in the warehouse are standing all day, walking all day. They never get a chance to sit down. And one of them was having problems sleeping and the other one wasn't waking, feeling very good. And all I suggested was a magnesium supplementation. Lo and behold, sleep sets in, anxiety is gone. I mean, it's just one of those miracle supplements or minerals. And there are different forms of magnesium. There's magnesium oxide, there's magnesium citrate, glycinate, and you're thinking, well, I don't know which one to take. I think that's a whole other podcast topic that we need to investigate. But I personally take a citrate formula because it's highly bioavailable, but probably the most commonly one that's most tolerated is a glycinate form, a magnesium glycinate. Very good for stress, for anxiety. I have given this to children in lower doses who have that stomach sort of stress response in the morning before going to school. Works very well. But magnesium glycinate can be particularly beneficial for people who have migraine episodes because it's sort of thought to somehow modulate nitric oxide production. And so that's magnesium. We can go on and talk about magnesium forever. It's one of my favorite topics. That's a whole other podcast for another day. But that is definitely a space of boom and growth.
And we should throw on at the end that probably we can give one message for a trend of 2024. Is it 5 a day, 5 a day, 5 a day? It's not even enough, but we'll take it. If you look at the percentage of Australians and globally of people who are even getting close, it's very saddening. And without that 5 a day, you're not even going to get close to your basics. So when people say, why consider supplementation if you're not getting those 5 a day? That's perhaps a route you need to go down is in order to supplement your diet. But it's always good to go back to that diet, have a good look at it. In Japan, I know the emphasis is on how many coloured foods you have and making that plate as colourful as possible. Now, that seems like very small advice, but often that small advice will give you more fibre. It will give you more of the nutrients Vicky's been talking about as well. So it comes back to getting that plate more colourful. Having, I can't do a podcast without saying it, but having more plant-based foods, therefore you'll get more fibre, you'll get more variety. It's getting out of that rut and having a good, honest look and maybe taking a food diary, because a food diary will tell you exactly what's going on in your life over a week. And I tell you what, you might be surprised with what you're actually eating, what you think you're eating to what you actually are eating. When you look at the variety in that food diary, even if you just do the food diary for 3 days, I think if you did a food diary where you write down what you think you eat and then you do a food diary that's actually what you do eat, you'll be surprised, and also be surprised about how much hydration you are or aren't getting, which is why that electrolyte balance is become so big, because people are dehydrated as well. So yeah, some good stuff for next year. But you know what? Some good stuff, some big new stuff, but some stuff that goes right back to those basics. That each podcast you will hear us say the same thing over again. And, as a nutritionist and being in the media for a long time, I used to kind of apologize for saying those same things. I'm not going to anymore, because we're not learning as fast as we need to in terms of getting the 5 a day. We're not learning as fast as we need to as eating more plant-based diets, and we're not learning as fast as we need to selling that stress response. Until we do, we won't have the best possible health outcomes.
Absolutely. So we'll leave it there for 2023. Next year, let's make our first podcast about sleep.
Yes. And maybe you're feeling sleepy after listening to this podcast, so we've done our job. Some of you might be alert, but some of you might be just nodding off. And maybe what Vicky and I do is go into the sleep business and just release our podcast to help everyone sleep.
I think that's a great idea. We'll read books and put everyone to sleep. I love that. Thank you so much, everyone, for a wonderful year. That's a wrap from us.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.